The internet as you know it may cease to exist very soon because of some middle school level petty drama around a piece of software that is operating 40% of all websites out there. You probably have used it. You probably know someone who has used it. You probably are interacting with a business that's running on it. And it is by far the largest piece of software to run websites out there. This is WordPress. And for those of you not aware, WordPress is an open source content management system that you can either host it on your own server or find many other managed hosts out there that allow you to have an easy to design website content system so that you can actually not have to worry about HTML, CSS code, and just design your website as you need through a plethora of plugins and themes. And there's an entire developer community around there that you can probably go on Fiverr or another website and get someone to design your website. It's a very popular piece of software that if you've ever run a business, you've probably had the decision to make, oh, do I want to make my website on WordPress? So I recently made a video talking about the majority of this drama already, but of course there has been more drama that has been going on that is unnecessary, and all of this is basically driving a lot of developers away from using WordPress, and this centers around, well, one individual. The co-founder of WordPress, Matt Mullenweg, is also the head of the WordPress Foundation that oversees the open source WordPress project, but he's also the CEO of Automattic, which owns WordPress.com, as well as Tumblr and a few other things. So he's not happy that another WordPress host happens to not be doing things in the way that they like with an open source project, and is now causing a huge amount of issues. And the community as a whole is basically just saying, well, we don't want to deal with this really, because if he's going after this one host because he doesn't like the way they're doing things, what's to stop him from going after another host I pick or going after my project? And it's really not a great look and a great vibe anymore, especially for an open source project. Before we dive into the latest updates in this whole series of events, make sure to hit like on this video, subscribe to my channel to see more of my content, and check out all of my other social media in the description down below. If you want the full details of what's been happening basically over the past couple of weeks that got to this point of drama, you can go check my prior video. But of course, if you want the highlights here, Matt Mullenweg, the CEO of Automattic, co-founder of WordPress, and head of the WordPress Foundation, was at a recent professional conference for WordPress called WordCamp. And while on stage, he singled out WP Engine, saying that they didn't contribute enough work hours, to the entire project, and basically was shaming them. He even put the managing director of Silver Lake, the firm that happens to own WP Engine, on screen during the conference, and then in a follow-up article called WP Engine a cancer. That's the long and short of it, and basically it's been revealed that he has been demanding that they give 8% revenue to Automattic or contribute enough work to that, while also basically giving full access to employee time records and all that. It's really, really not a great look for an open source project. This is seeming more like what Microsoft or another for-profit organization would do than an open source project, all because he personally doesn't agree with what another company is doing with open source software that they're allowed to basically do. And he's leveraging the trademark and having an entire unnecessary drama and feud with them that is ending up scaring a lot of developers into just saying, you know what? Instead of, listening to Matt and saying, we're just going to move away from WP Engine because now you've caused a lot of headaches for a lot of developers that happen to have clients on WP Engine. Because if you go look at their website, you can see they have a lot of big names. They are just looking at moving entire platforms, because now the worry is, well, if they're going to do this to this one host that they don't happen to agree with, what happens if I switch to another host? Or if I happen to do my website in a way they don't agree with? Or, it's just a real bad look overall for someone who's running an open source project, and kind of seems also a little bit of a conflict of interest because he himself is also running a WordPress hosting company that is making money on this project, and it's not a good look overall. So into the latest drama that has happened. Let's take a quick break here for a second and talk about how you can keep your data more secure and private with Proton, the company that believes that privacy should not only be the default setting, but an inherent right to everyone. They have an encrypted at rest email, drive storage, calendar, and many more features like a VPN, a password manager, and more. Check them out with the links below. As a response to this, a WP Engine sent a cease and desist letter asking Mullenweg and Automattic to withdraw these comments, and then Automattic sent its own cease and desist letter accusing WP Engine of infringing WordPress and WooCommerce trademarks. WooCommerce being the e-commerce platform you can use alongside WordPress. Then Mullenweg banned WP Engine from WordPress.org, so they couldn't update the engine for any of the client websites. They couldn't grab any plugins. Now the clients could basically have their things operate. This caused a lot of headache and, frustration for a lot of WordPress developers, because there's a lot of WordPress developers that are just trying to do their damn job, and now they have to deal with this little, middle school level drama that is so unnecessary because one guy is not having his way and it's an open source project. You're not required to contribute to the code. It'd be really nice to. In an ideal world, everyone should, but not everyone does, nor are you required to do so. I think in my entirety of open source projects, I've probably only committed maybe 20 hours in my entire career to different bug fixes and various things, but I digress. They, gave them a short reprieve to unblock them until October 1st. It was revealed that, Automattic had a 7-year term sheet that it had sent to WP Engine on September 20th, prior to this whole drama starting, asking the hosting company to pay 8% of its gross revenues per month as a royalty fee for using the WordPress and WooCommerce trademarks, and this could be paid potentially in work hours through employees, but it would also require that Automattic have access to timesheets and be able to audit, the work that employees. It's really an overreach, especially for an open source company. This is stuff I would expect from Microsoft and a lot of these other, companies that, really are known for this kind of licensing BS. Now, with that being said, now we're at the level of it's just reaching additional levels of pettiness. When you try to log in to the community side of WordPress.org, there's a new checkbox that you're required to check off when you log in, and most people are like, okay, one more checkbox. But it literally says, I am not affiliated with WP Engine in any way, financially or otherwise. This is reaching epic levels of pettiness that this is not how open source is supposed to run. The Linux Foundation didn't even pull this stunt when Microsoft started doing little Linux tinkerings, or you have a lot of these companies taking the Linux kernel and doing proprietary projects with it. They just kind of said, it's open source. They're allowed to do that. You may not like it, but they can do that. Now, what's interesting is if you go to WPEngine.com, there's a new edition as well. It's at the very bottom of the website, at the footer. This didn't exist there before. At least I don't remember it being there when I was recording this video. WP Engine is a proud member and supporter of the community of WordPress users. The WordPress trademark is the intellectual property of the WordPress Foundation, and the Woo and WooCommerce trademarks are the intellectual property of WooCommerce Inc. Uses of the WordPress, Woo, and WooCommerce names in the website are for identification purposes only and do not imply an endorsement by WordPress Foundation or WooCommerce Inc. WP Engine is not endorsed or owned by or affiliated with the WordPress Foundation or WooCommerce Inc. This is getting to serious levels of petty I never even saw. Like I said, nobody really cared about how Linux was doing things. Linux doesn't even care. They're not going around saying, yeah, Linux is trademarked, and, even you may see the memes about people who's like, well, the product you're using isn't just Linux, it's GNU/Linux. Linux is just the kernel. Even those people are not going to this level of petty that WordPress has gone, and Matt Mullenweg is on a huge ego trip. I'm sorry, Matt. You need to go get some help, because either your mom didn't love you enough or loved you too much, one of those two things, you need to sort this thing out in therapy, because this is feeling less like you have an actual legitimate issue at this company, and you're more upset with Timmy stealing your toy back in the 2nd grade that you still haven't processed that issue, or, I don't know. At this point, this really makes no sense. To the average person, this is just extreme levels of petty that's scaring away and can actually fracture your entire community, and already starting to. A lot of those people are moving away from WordPress and trying to find alternatives. And a lot of those people are not going to come back. And this is a huge blunder on your part, because Automattic is a great company. You have 159 employees that left, as I discussed in the prior video. And you have a $7.5 billion corporation that you have built. You have done and made more success than many people would hope to have in their lifetime. And you are in the process of destroying it because of your ego. Silver Lake, the company that owns WP Engine, has $103 billion in assets. WP Engine is only one of them. All of your eggs are in the Automattic basket, basically. You're about to ruin everything for yourself and the community by doing this. WP Engine, if it happens to, go away because of what you're doing and all that, Silver Lake is still going to go on. They're still going to have their billions of dollars, but you potentially have way more to lose, and you are causing the community to have a tremendous amount of grief, stress, headaches, because we're getting caught in the crossfire. Because a lot of developers happen to be using WP Engine for some of their clients. Let's look at some of the clients that they have over here that they're talking about that they use. You've got Petco, CMA Awards, Pandora, Instacart, Yelp, Sleep Number, AMD, Worldmark. You got some pretty big games on here. I mean, even Tiffany and Company is using WP Engine. This is not a good look for you, Matt. So I'm very frustrated at this entire situation, because even I now have to start looking at how am I going to possibly migrate my blog, which admittedly, as I said in the last video, I really neglect and should be making more content for anyway. But I want to move it possibly away from another platform, because what's to stop you from having a tiff with another host? You've already in the past called GoDaddy a parasite. I'm not a big fan of GoDaddy, but it's still not appropriate for your person in your position to make such remarks. You've gone and called WP Engine a cancer. What's next? Anyway, those are my thoughts on the situation. These are the updates so far, and happy hacking, everyone. Stay safe out there.